So if you're taking care of hips and you don't want to get all the way on the floor, please have a seat in a chair. Or if you're okay on the bolster or all the way down on the floor, your choice. We're just going to start seated. And once we're in a comfortable seated position, we're just going to take a big breath in through the nose and a long, noisy breath out through the mouth. A couple more like that. If we want to roll the shoulders on that inhale, we can do that. Exhale, drop them back down. Another big one. And then we can settle in to our yogic breath in and out through our nose. And just soften the muscles in our face. And just pay attention to where our hands are in contact with our body. Just as a little touchstone. Bringing our attention to the here and now. And we're going to stay on that strength theme. So I have another strength quote. This is by Napoleon Hill. He's kind of the founder of the modern day law of attraction. So he has an interesting book, but this quote says, "Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle." That doesn't mean that every day is a full-blown struggle. But even just the struggle of a yoga pose, there's a little bit of effort, right? We're always trying to find that just right challenge. It's not too easy. There's a little bit of struggle. And through that little bit of struggle, we build our strength. Our emotional strength, our physical strength. So we're going to start with just bringing our attention to our abdominal muscles. We could put our hand on our belly if we choose. We don't have to. But just awareness to those belly muscles and see if we can pull the belly button toward the spine, straight back, and exhale. And the inhale, it goes soft. So if our hand is there, the belly just kind of gently pushes into the hand. And on the exhale, pulls away from the hand. And over the next few breaths, let's see if we can increase the intensity of that abdominal contraction. And then we'll just go back to our regular breathing. Maintain length in our spine, as if we're being lifted from the crown of our head string. But the belly's just barely pulled in. So if when we pulled it in as hard as we could, that was a 10 out of 10, let's just see if we can pull it in like a 3. So it's just slightly engaged, just to help us sit tall. But we can still breathe comfortably in and out through our nose. Let's bring our arms to a goalpost position and actively reach elbows in opposite directions. And then pull the elbows back and down, shoulder blades back and down. Give our heart just a little push forward. Careful that our chin doesn't go forward as well, that our ears are still floating over our shoulders. A tiny little chin tuck, just so we maintain that length in the back of our neck. We'll come out of that chest expansion, just soften the shoulders. And then if we're sitting on the floor, we're going to bring our feet in front of us. And we're going to just move our spine the opposite direction. So that was kind of a cow pose, and now we're going to go into cat, where we tuck our tailbone under, pull our belly button in, shoulder blades pull away from the midline of our body, and we drop our chin toward our chest. Let's try that a few times. So we're going to inhale into our cow pose, lifting our heart, shoulder blades back and down. Exhale into our cat. We'll follow our own pace, inhaling to cow, exhaling to cat. You're in a chair. You can do that same thing sitting, feet on the ground, inhaling and exhaling. And let's just do one more cow and cat pose. Really pulling the belly in on this last cat pose. We'll come back to where we started, sitting nice and tall. We're going to begin to add in a little twist. So just twisting from the rib cage up, the hips stay grounded. We'll bring the arms up and overhead on the inhale, and on the exhale, we'll bring one hand toward the opposite leg, the other hand behind us. So exhale into that twist. Do the same thing again, inhaling up. Exhale, gently twisting to the other side. We're never forcing that twist, especially at the beginning when we're just warming up. So that twist all comes through the muscles. We're not forcing it by grabbing on either to the body or to a chair, or to the cushion. Hands are just gently resting where they land naturally. Do one more time to each side, inhaling up, exhale, gently twisting. We'll come back to where we started. And we're going to come to a standing position. I'm just going to bring a chair into the frame. In case you wanted to use a chair, it was an option. So from our mountain, we're just going to strengthen the ankles, the calves, just inhaling our heels away from the ground and exhale, sinking down. Connecting the breath to the movement. And only working in the range where we're stable. So if we're not holding on to a chair and we start to wobble, the next time we just want to go a little less high, working in that happy space where we're stable. If we want to hold on to something, even a fingertip, that can give us stability so the ankles don't wobble. Finding our drishti or our focus is helpful here and in any of the balance poses going forward. And we'll meet back in our mountain. We're going to step our right foot back for our high lunge. Hips, knees, toes pointing toward the short edge of the mat. Drawing the belly in, and we'll come to our goalpost arms again, shoulders back and down, elbows reaching in opposite directions. And we'll flow with the arms, inhaling up, exhaling back to our goalpost. And we'll step our back foot forward and meet in our chair pose, bringing hands to our heart, feeling weight in our heels. The option of having a chair there can be helpful, again, just for balance if we'd like it. And we'll inhale into mountain and exhale into chair. Continuing that flow, each time working in a range where our knees are happy. Meeting back in mountain and stepping the left foot back for our high lunge on the other side, bringing our arms to goalposts, drawing our belly in. And when we feel stable, we can begin to flow in the arms, inhaling up, exhaling down. When we're ready, we can step that back foot forward. We're going to meet again in our chair. Find that happy spot for our knees. And we'll flow again, inhaling up. And exhale, sinking down into our chair pose. We'll meet back in our mountain, standing tall. I'm going to flip the chair for those of you using one. We're going to go into our forward fold, but if we're protecting the hips, so we might not want to go into a full forward fold, we can use the seat of the chair. So we'll inhale our arms overhead and exhale, swan dive into our forward fold, bending at the knees. Maybe that's enough hip flexion. If we want, we can go all the way to the ground. While we're here, let's see if we can relax the head and the neck. Nodding yes. Hey, baby. Shaking our head no. And we'll come into our monkey, bringing hands to our shins. Just letting the blood pressure adjust. Head above the heart. We'll take a deeper knee bend and inhale our arms up overhead. And exhale, hands to our heart. And we'll meet in our mountain. We'll try that again. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive into our forward fold, either to the chair or all the way down. Relaxing for the head and neck. If we need a neck massage while we're down here, go ahead and give ourselves that little treat. Just a little rub. And after we've been upside down for a while, we just want to take it easy coming back up, starting off in our monkey. And we'll take a deeper knee bend and reverse our swan dive up. And exhale to our mountain. And we'll do that one more time. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive to our forward fold, to the chair, or all the way down. Another neck massage. Whenever we're upside down, we just want to be grounded. So at least one hand touching either the floor or block to keep our back safe. When we're ready to come out, again into our monkey. Deep knee bend, inhaling up and exhaling to mountain. We're going to add in a little bit more of a flow here. So we're going to just connect those poses that we've already done. We'll start off with the high lunge. So from our high lunge, inhaling, arms up, exhaling to our goalpost, stepping back to our chair. Inhaling, arms overhead, exhale, swan dive. We won't hang out too long this time. We'll come hands to our shins for monkey, take a deeper knee bend, reverse our swan dive up, and exhale to mountain. Same thing, other side, stepping the left leg back into our high lunge. Inhaling, arms overhead, exhaling to our goalpost, stepping our back foot forward, meeting in our chair. Inhaling, arms overhead, exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. Hands to our shins into monkey. Take a deep knee bend and reverse our swan dive up. Exhale to mountain. We'll do that a few more times. Stepping the right leg back into our high lunge. Inhaling, arms overhead, exhaling into our goalpost arms, and stepping the back foot forward, meeting in our chair. Inhaling, arms overhead, exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. Hands to our shins into monkey, lengthen our spine with a big breath in. We'll take a deep knee bend, reverse our swan dive up. And meet again, standing tall in our mountain pose on the exhale. And stepping the left leg back into our high lunge. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling to goalpost. Stepping the back foot forward into our chair. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. And hands to our shins into monkey with length in our spine. Taking a deep knee bend, reversing our swan dive up. And exhaling to mountain. And one more time on each side, stepping the right leg back, starting with our arms and goalpost. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms to goalpost again. Stepping the back foot forward into chair. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. Inhaling to monkey. Exhale, take a deep knee bend, reverse our swan dive up. And meeting in our mountain. And stepping our left leg back, arms come to goalpost. Inhaling, arms overhead, exhale back to our goalpost and stepping forward into our chair. Inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive to our forward fold. Next to our shins and our monkey. Take a deep knee bend, reverse our swan dive up. And exhale, meeting, standing tall in our mountain. So the next time we're going to add a push-up. We're going to work the chest muscles. Now you can decide to do a push-up on the chair, over here, or we're going to go up down to the floor. Just going to follow what we've already done. We're just adding on to it. So we'll start again on that same high lunge. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling to goalpost. Stepping our back foot forward into our chair. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. Now from here, we step back into our full plank or our kneeling plank and bring our hands wide. Lowering down and pushing back up. Inhaling and exhaling. This can also be done at the chair. Or against a wall. So on those push-ups, we're always taking care of our shoulders. So we want the crease of the wrist to be really behind the shoulder. So never here. That's hard on the shoulders. Want the shoulders in front of the crease of the wrist, the belly pulled in. Inhaling and exhaling. If we chose to get on the floor, we're now going to bring the hands back underneath us and push into our down dog. We'll walk our feet forward into forward fold. Take a deep knee bend, reverse our swan dive up. And exhale to mount. So that same flow, this time we're going to start with the left leg back. In our high lunge, arms at goalpost, inhaling up, exhaling down, stepping the back foot forward into chair. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive either to the chair, hand to the chair, or all the way to the ground. Then we'll step back to our full plank or our kneeling plank. As many push-ups as you would like. Remember, child's pose is a great rest position here. And we'll all meet again. If we came all the way to the ground, we'll meet in our down dog. We'll step our back feet forward into our forward fold. We'll take a deep knee bend and reverse our swan dive up. And exhale to mountain. We're going to grab hold of our resistance band. So we're going to be here. I'm going to again step into my high lunge. Feel that we have a strong and safe base. So if we need to drop that back heel and turn it into a warrior one, we can do that. We're doing our lat pull down. So we start with hands about shoulder width apart overhead. On our exhale, we pull them out and down. So that band comes to our chest. Inhale up. Exhale the shoulder blades back and down. So if you like to count, so you're sure you get the same on each side, you're welcome to do that. Somewhere between 8 and 12. You should be a little tired on that last one. We'll step back into our mountain. So if you're not a little tired on that last one, you might want to consider getting a higher resistance. So the bands, the lighter colors are a lighter resistance, so usually yellow is the lightest. Then it'll move up in color, yellow, green, blue, black. The darker ones are usually more resistance. Or if you just want to add more resistance on the band that you have, just going to bring your hands closer together. There's less to pull. We'll do the same thing on the other side, stepping the left leg back, relaxing the shoulders. We'll inhale, arms overhead, and exhale, back and down. We'll step our back foot forward whenever we're ready. Meet again in our mountain. And for now, I'm going to put the resistance band down. And I'm going to use an 8-pound weight now. So we're going to do our chair pose and our bent over row. So these are a bit bigger muscles. So if you have a 3-pound and a 5-pound, you might want to use your 5 pounds now. So we're going to sink first into our chair pose. Just a little more conscious in our movement now that we have more weight. We still have weight in our heels. We can wiggle our toes. Our belly's pulled in to protect our back. Inhale, standing tall into our mountain. Exhale, slowly sinking down so the weights just slide by the sides of our legs. Inhale, standing tall. Exhale, very slowly sinking down. Squeezing the muscles in our backside. Always working in the range where our knees are happy. So if they're unhappy, listen to them. Maybe go a little less deep into that squat next time. Can we pull our belly in a little bit more on the exhale? Do we still feel our breath flowing in and out through our nose? That struggle that we mentioned at the very beginning, is it just right? Just enough to make us stronger. So we are in control of that challenge. We take a break and we meet in our mountain. We sink deeper or not as deep in that squat. We're going to meet in our mountain pose. I'm going to only use one weight next for this bent over row. And you'll see where this chair could come in handy. So I'm going to move into that high lunge. And you can use a chair as kind of a base to ground you, hand or elbow. And that weight is going to come down maybe a little lower than the knee on the opposite side. Belly's pulled in. On that exhale, we pull that elbow up and back. Think about the shoulder blade moving toward the spine. Feel that belly pull in, especially on the exhale. We'll back in our mountain, standing tall, before we take that same thing to the other side. It's just stepping the left leg back. Hand or elbow resting on the chair if you have one. If you don't have a chair, you can do the same thing just with the thigh. Resting just above the knee. Inhaling to lengthen the arm, exhaling to bend it. So really visualizing the muscles that we're working significantly increases the benefit of this exercise. You get about 2 to 3% stronger, and your mind is in the muscle. So we're working these muscles in the upper back, between the shoulder blade and the shoulder. Between the shoulder blade and the spine, I should say. We were talking earlier on before the class started about what weights to choose. So it's helpful to have at least 2 different sets, a 3-pound and a 5-pound, or a 5-pound and an 8. As we get stronger, we can gradually build up. So it's better to start too light than start too heavy and get an injury. But if we're doing strength training twice a week, we're going to see a change in our strength. If we only do strength training once a week, we can maintain the strength that we have. We won't lose strength. Okay. So I'm going to take both weights now. Shoulders back and down, standing tall on our mountain. And lots of awareness of our body position in our mountain. We'll start off with our feet, that they're fully grounded. We have just a micro bend in the knees. So we have a little lift in the pelvic floor. The belly gently drawn in. Shoulders are down away from our ears. Our breath is flowing in and out through our nose. And one more time in our high lunge. Our right leg is back. Our palms are going to rotate forward. Our belly's pulled in. On our exhale, we'll curl up. And inhale, lengthen. If we have a chair and we want a break, we take one. We can still do our bicep curls here. We'll meet back, standing tall in our mountain. Really focused on our alignment again, from feet to head. Just take a moment and check in. Now with the next one, I'm just going to demonstrate first if this is not something you're familiar with. It's an overhead tricep extension. I'm going to hold, I'm going to lower so you can see, but we would be in a lunge. Elbows stay close to the head. So resist the urge to be in this position. Really pull the elbows in, drop, and extend. Inhale and exhale. So we have our other foot back. Belly's pulled in. Our movements are slow and controlled. And we'll meet back where we started in our mountain. We can put our weights down for now. We're going to step our right leg back into our warrior two. So our arms are extended, really reaching in opposite directions, softening our shoulders. Our belly's pulled in. We'll drop that back hand and lift the front palm. Pull that bottom rib away from the hip as we feel that gentle side stretch into our exalted warrior. When we're ready, we can sink down into our extended side angle. Elbow resting on the thigh. Nice long line from the fingertips to the edge of the back foot. Careful we don't slump down, but we're really thinking about distance between the ear and the shoulder here. If the back is happy to do it. Cortana thinks I'm talking to her. These devices. So if the belly's pulling in and our back is happy to participate in this, we can extend that bottom arm. Top arm could come and rest back of the hand at the low back. These are just options. Potentially we could reach to the floor or a block. Not if we're protecting our hip, that's too much hip flexion. But we can meet back in our warrior two. And we're going to turn all 10 toes to the long edge of the mat. Hands are going to come to our hips. Shoulders are relaxed. And we'll step our feet so that they're underneath our hip bones, standing tall again in our mountain. And we'll move to our chest expansion. The shoulders come back and down, palms pull together. If you happen to have a ring or something, an actual beach ball, go ahead and squeeze it. Open across the chest, chin gently tucked in. Feel that breath flowing in and out through the nose. We'll come out of that chest expansion and we'll take our warrior two to the other side, stepping the left leg back. Shoulders are soft, energy being sent out. Both sets of fingertips. Gently lifting up the pelvic floor and the belly in. As the breath flows in and out through the nose. Drop that back arm, back hand, lift the front hand into our exalted warrior. Again, feel length on the side of the body, bringing that bottom rib away from the hip. And from the exalted warrior into our extended side angle. Choosing any one of those potential options with the arms. Only to the floor if the hip is happy. My hip's not quite happy with that one. I'm going to come right back up. And we'll meet eventually back in our warrior two. We'll turn all 10 toes to the long edge of the mat and bring hands to our hips. And we'll step back to our mountain and check in bottom to top. So from our mountain, we're going to move into a warrior three. This is our balance pose, where our hips stay pointing forward. Let's just start by lifting our right foot behind us. And we can decide how far we want to come down. So here's where that chair might come in handy again. We're squeezing our bottom, lengthening the leg, really reaching with the heel and pulling toes toward the shin. When the toes are floppy, we have less engagement. When we really pull the toes, we really feel the muscles engage more. We can have fingertips on the chair. We can extend the arms away from us. We can bring the arms by our side or into airplane. From our warrior three into our balancing crane, we're going to bring that back foot forward and sink down. This is our Karate Kid move. Shoulders are soft, hands are relaxed. And let's pull the toes toward the shin again. We have the option to just stay steady, or we could extend and bend. Inhale and exhale. We'll meet back in our mountain. And prepare for those same two balancing poses on the other side. So start by extending our left leg behind us, feeling the strength in our right hip. And slowly tipping over. Hands either on a chair, table, whatever's nearby. And we usually have the urge to kind of lift that hip. Let's see if we can drop it and keep them square. Extending the opposite leg, pulling the toes for the shin. Hands can stay supporting us, or we can choose any one of those options. Fingertips behind us, in front of us, out to the sides. Remember that struggle? Making us stronger. When we're ready, we can slowly come out and meet in our balancing crane. Inhaling and exhaling if we choose. If we need to sit on the chair, we can do the same exercise seated, strengthening the quadriceps as we straighten and bend. Meet back in our mountain. We're going to do one more stretch standing before we go to the floor or the bed, depending on where you're doing your stretching. So we'll step our right foot back. This is our pyramid stretch. So if we're protecting our hips, we're going to use that chair again. Belly pulls in, maybe we just go here. If we want, we can go all the way down toward the floor, fingertips reaching for the ground. Same idea, we're going to be tempted to lift that hip. Let's see if we can sink it and square the hips. Feeling length in the back of that front leg. Maybe it feels good to lift the toes to get more of a stretch. So we're holding for probably 3 really slow, maybe 5 breaths, at least 30 seconds. We'll slowly come up out of our pyramid stretch, back to our mountain. It's the same thing to the other side. So hinging forward, belly's pulled in. Hands can rest on the chair. The camera is like having a mirror. So I have a tendency to do that. But you see how you can see the difference when I say square the hips? So I'm really dropping that hip back, square them off, and then I can bring my belly toward my thighs to get a greater stretch. You can sink back, you can lift the toes. So as long as we can comfortably breathe and there's no pain, the stretch is probably a good stretch for us. We'll slowly come out of the stretch and stand tall in our mountain. So again, this is where we're going to go to the floor or to the bed. We'll inhale our arms overhead and exhale, swan dive into a forward fold. We're going to hinge forward and then come to our hands and knees. So if there's no kneeling because of recent hip surgery, you can just rest on the bed and we'll meet you there in a second. Our shoulders are back and down, our belly is pulled in. And we're going to extend right arm and left leg. Feel that length in the spine, the length in the limbs, the breath flowing in and out through the nose. Whenever you're ready, you can take that same spinal balance to the other side. Belly pulling away from the ground. Fingertips and heel reaching away. And breath flowing in and out through the nose. We'll meet back on all fours. Just going to transition here. We'll drop a hip and sweep the legs around. If you want to do a few core exercises before we meet on the ground, that's an option. Or we just sink back and forward. The belly's pulled in. Inhaling and exhaling. squeaky floorboard there. Hands could support us on the back of our legs, or we could face the palms toward the sky and have all the work come in the abdominal muscles. If you're on the bed and you wanted to do a little bit of ab work, you do it here. So we're all going to eventually meet on our backs, grasp behind one leg, and come down. We'll bring feet to the floor or bed, our knees bent, and we'll find that same alignment. Our shoulders back and down, our palms up. Our knees and ankles in line with our hips and shoulders. Feel that relaxing breath. A little longer perhaps on the exhale. And moving into our bridge pose. We can press our feet into the ground or the bed, and we're lifting our bottom away from that surface. And notice that the weight is evenly distributed on our feet, so we haven't rolled out toward our pinky toes or in toward our big toes. And trying to keep the nose right at our midline, so resisting the urge to look right or left. Notice that the thigh bones are parallel to one another, kind of rolled out or in. We'll slowly come out of bridge. So give yourself another minute for whatever stretch you'd like. Perhaps you want to do bridge again with the block underneath us, so into our restorative bridge. Maybe you want to do another hamstring stretch or just a happy baby. If you need another twist, you could do a spinal twist here. Again, only twisting from the rib cage. For those of you familiar with that, I always do that lift and shift before we twist. Lift and shift before we lower down and come into that twist pose. Just to make sure we keep a nice long line from the crown of the head to the tailbone and we're not twerking anything. I said twerk, not twerk. We don't want to twerk in yoga either. So notice that exhale just lengthening even more. If we want to finish the class the way we started, where we have that noisy exhale through the mouth, go ahead and do that too. Whatever helps you settle down and settle in. Free stretch of the happy baby might be my favorite. The restorative bridge is a close second. Gotta grab my walk. For me, a restorative bridge can take away low back pain. Just kind of resets things for me. You have to find just the right spot for the block. It shouldn't be at the muscular part of the low back, but should be at the bony part of the sacrum. And when we're ready, we can meet in our favorite position for Shavasana. So if we had a chair around and we wanted to do legs up the chair, that might feel nice. So once we've settled in and we have checked that our shoulders are down away from our ears and the muscles in our face are relaxed, we've settled into that yogic breath. We're going to bring our attention to the feeling of the breath, the sensations. The tickle of the air in and out through the nose. Maybe the rise and fall of the belly. The sensation of the breath is our focus, and the place where we refocus. Each time we notice we've wandered away in our mind. Slowly begin to wiggle fingers and toes. We'll bend the knees and roll to our side. And using our top arm, we'll push ourselves up. And we'll meet in a comfortable seated position. And with length in our spine, inhaling our arms overhead. Exhaling, hands to our heart. A reminder from Napoleon Hill that because we struggled, and continuously demonstrated effort throughout this whole class. We will get stronger and grow. May the light in me honor the light in you. Namaste.